Oh goodness. The hardest lesson. That's a good question as well. I oh goodness. I will say one of the biggest things that experiences that did happen to me while I was in college. I did have my first kid there while I was there, so that was that burst into a whole. You actually change. That actually changes you. I mean, literally and figuratively. So to go through that while in college, the lesson through that whole thing would be just to oh goodness, set yourself up to continue, like, to keep that first, like set yourself up to where when life happens, you're still able to move forward with the goals that you set for yourself. That is definitely one of the things that I learned, that don't let the life things that everybody actually deals with. Everyone, kids all over the place, so like things like that that literally is everyday things. Don't allow something like that to just stop you dead on your tracks in the middle. And I will say, one of the biggest lessons I have learned, even during that process and after, is accept the help that is given to you, or is trying to that's there. And that's definitely one thing that I look back on and I'm like, this could have all been really easy had I just not been so stubborn. Gotcha. Had I just accepted what was there. I wanted to do everything on my own that I did not have to do. I can't stress this enough. I didn't have to do any of this at all. I could have, everything, so much could have just been avoided.
What made you, what made you feel that accepting. Way? What made you? Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Armand Lindsay, back again with another episode of Big Boss Talk, the podcast. Listen, I got another top tier guest. This one was recommended by obviously, she works with him. Well, she had collaborated with him on the book. I've interviewed him, and then he done some work with me. We were able to collaborate. And so, man, my boy Donald Wilson, man, he recommended this guest, and I knew it was gonna be dope because Donald's dope. He does dope work. And so I was super excited. Couldn't wait to grab her, get on the podcast just so she can kind of explain, her what she does and just how the idea came about of, her book, right? So let me introduce my guest. Okay, so I got Shani Taylor, age 31. Her career as a job, she's a works as a loan operations for a bank as an insurance monitor. She's been in loan services, the service industry, for about 7 years. So she's coming up on a decade. So she's got some time in the game. She's probably learned a lot, probably knows a lot, probably knows some of the do's, don'ts, all that good stuff that comes with time and experience. Okay, she attended Francis Marion University. She studied English liberal arts from 2009 to 2014, but she has not obtained a degree yet. And we're going to get into that because I do want to ask a couple of questions just about the journey, because everybody's journey is different, right? And everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just different, and I like to hear different people's perspective on their journey, because there's somebody else that's going through the exact same journey that might need to get some clarification, or just might need to know it's okay, it's all gonna work out, no matter what the world may say you need to have or what you should have. It all works out in the end as long as you have a plan and a mission in place. But first off, I want to say, Shani, say what's up to the podcast.
Hi, you guys.
Yes.
So happy to be here tonight. It's a little late, but I'm awake.
Thank you. Well, we're glad to have you. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be Big Boss Talk, the podcast, if we didn't do two truths and a lie. So can you please bless us with these 3 statements so I can try to guess this lie?
Okay. 2 truths and a lie. I've always wanted to be an author.
Okay.
My very first concert was a Kanye West concert. And I'm not originally from South Carolina.
Okay. Not originally from South Carolina. I always wanted to be an author. Number 2 is your first concert was a Kanye West concert. Kanye West. Okay. I like that. So I always wanted to be an author. I don't know. I don't know if I can. I think that's true. I think this wanting to be an author is probably like a secret, secret gift you've been hiding, just waiting on the right time to put a body of work out. So I think that's true. The Kanye West, your first, I think that could be true. I think that's definitely true. We talking college dropout?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I think that's true as well. And so I think the last one is because you said you're not originally from South Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dang, that's good. It's between the concert and not being originally from South Carolina. So I think the lie is not originally being from South Carolina. I think you are originally from South Carolina. I think that's the lie.
Okay. So the lie actually is I have not always wanted to be an author.
Dang, what? Okay. That's a good one. I
haven't always wanted to be an author. I actually was very into biology, so I always knew I'd be in the medical field, not on the doctor or nurse end, but just in it, doing something scientific. That was what I wanted to do. That's what I went to college to do. But I got there and really fell in love with English, or I've always been good at it. So it was just one of those things. I'm like, that's kind of just too easy. So I'm going to pick the hard thing, which is biology. So tried English, loved it, but wanted to do it on like an educational aspect where I would be a teacher.
Right.
Love that. And that's where it went. But writing for a living, just like you said in the beginning, you don't look at authorship as a career. You don't look at it as something that's easy. You thinking that you have to be sought after. It isn't something that you pursue. You are pursued. Right. Someone maybe hear about you, or you write into something, and then they kind of look for you. Yep. Versus getting out there. So yes, my very first concert actually was Kanye West.
Okay.
We grew up in Atlanta. I wasn't born in Atlanta, but we grew up there. So my dad used to take us to different parks and things like that. And at Centennial Park back then, I'm not sure if they still do that. They have on the bricks in the summertime, which is every Saturday or Friday, they'll bring in a celebrity.
Yeah.
And Kanye West was one that they brought out, and that was our very first concert. We were in the very front because we got out there like in the afternoon time. He didn't get on stage until like 8, 9, 10 o'clock p.m.
Of course.
But the earlier you get there, it's like festival style. Right. So you get up there, and it was up there. So yes, that was our very first concert. And I am originally from Newport News, Virginia. I moved to South Carolina in middle school, so this is home to me. I tell anyone I'm from Sumter, South Carolina if they ask.
Okay.
I live in Greenville now, but South Carolina is home. This is home, but I'm not originally from here, but
got you. That's
I'll
dope.
be here for as long as I can.
That's dope. So for crazy is my sister went to Sumter, the college. She went out there for a couple of years. Ended up coming back home. So familiar with Sumter. I actually went to college in Greenville and lived in Greenville for about 6 years. So I'm from South Carolina though. So I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina. And so all my roots and family from South Carolina. But Greenville is like top. It's a top 3 place, in my spot because I just love I like downtown Greenville, the environment. I just love how it's a melting pot for a lot of different people.
It's growing. It's growing so much. It's growing so much. I live on like the Easley side of town, and everybody tells me, that used to be the countryside.
Yeah.
I don't have to leave. I don't have to go into town if I don't want to. Everything is right here. Everything I need is right here. I love it. And like you said, a melting pot. We we participate in some of the sports around here. The families that we meet. One of the families from our soccer team last season was from Australia.
Wow.
I mean, you just meet people and they're so nice. They really are nice. They make you feel like family. You don't feel awkward because you're the new family on the team. They so welcoming, so nice. Been so supportive with this book. My job alone has been so supportive with this book. I love it up here. I really do. Everybody's super nice.
That's good, man. I love fall for Greenville. That's always a fun time. It's always busy. What else? Haywood, that road is one road in Greenville that stay packed. I don't never want to get on that road.
It's a few of them like that.
The one by Sam's, it's the Sam's, is because Greenville got a Sam's.
Woodruff Road is probably what.
Oh my God, Woodruff Road is the worst. If you trying to get in the morning and in the afternoon at 5 o'clock, it's the worst.
I plan around Woodruff Road. I don't go anywhere. If I have to be on that. If I want something, if I want to try a new restaurant and I see that it's on Woodruff Road, it's automatically a no.
Yeah.
If there's anything that I want on there, and the bad thing is Target is over there. So like around the holidays and where they having the sales and stuff, it's like you make the sacrifice to get over there, and it's like, why did I? It wasn't worth it. It's never worth it.
It is never worth it. But that's cool. So I think that's awesome. Obviously that you come from Sumter, South Carolina, but you moved in middle school. So I mean that's awesome. Just to have different roots in different areas. I think South Carolina is a beautiful place. But I do want to start in the beginning, right? So we talk about, you gave me a brief description on how you went to wanted to go to college on the biology route, but then you obviously fell in love with English. And things of that nature. But what did young Shani actually want to be growing up? What was your dreams, goals, aspirations at that time?
Yes, I can honestly say when I was a kid, I was a kid. Like I was not thinking of a career. I wasn't, of course you ask a kid now, I want to be a police officer. They're going to name those generic things, but I just wasn't one of those kids who did that because I'm like, I'm going to give you a basic answer that I don't really want to do, but I just, for the sake of the conversation. But my earliest memories of really wanting to do something would probably be middle school. And at that time, I wanted to be a medical examiner, right?
Okay.
Autopsies, that type of thing. Anything, like I said, that had to do with the biology side of life was interesting to me. But at that time, I kind of honed in on the most creepiest thing I could think of. Honestly, that's why I wanted to do it. That's it. Because it was creepy and it brought up conversation if you tell something. It was one of those things, but really interested in it, really, looked into it. Because, in high school, they kind of have you research what you want to do. And I always did that. So I knew a lot about it. I knew what it takes to get there. So I was like, I'm going to go to school, study biology, become a medical examiner. And crazy thing is, now I'm so squeamish. I don't want to do any. I wouldn't do anything in the hospital.
You don't want to do nothing in the hospital.
I'm so squeamish. I can't even stomach it.
Yeah. See,
I never was like that as a kid. I never was like that. But as I've gotten older,
it just changed. Okay. I mean, that's usually how it is. Like sometimes, a lot of times we always talk on the podcast when I talk to different people. I'm like, it's crazy how, we can push, kids to want to choose what they want to be at such a young age when you really don't even know yourself, right? You at the time, you felt like you was comfortable, with being in the hospital, all that good stuff, because it sounded good, it looked good, it was a conversation starter. It just felt good to know that, okay, people, they
this is an important job.
Yeah,
like,
it's an important. Yeah, that importance, but when you older, you like, man, I don't even like, some of the stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine actually going to work and doing that every day.
It's crazy because I always used to say when I was young I wanted to be an engineer, like I forgot what I used to say, electrical engineer. And that was only because like my uncle was an engineer and everybody kind of revered my uncle in such a way. Like he was an engineer. He left hometown, went to Texas, started a good career. Like it just seemed almost picture perfect. So I was like, man, maybe I want to be an engineer. But knowing myself now, I couldn't be an engineer because I don't think as the way that a lot of engineers do think. I'm more of a, on the creative side and things of that nature. So that's pretty cool. So obviously, starting for you wanted to do something, in the biology field, maybe at a young age, but then things, you get older and things start to change. How did you, going into college, you chose the biology route, but what made you, what caught your eye with English? Like, how did you, change course from, the
It was
biology to English?
one of the things, like I said, I was naturally just really good at. In high school, it was something that kind of came natural to me. I always enjoyed literature. I tell people all the time, I remember being in like math class and taking one word and making a story out of that one word or something like that. So it's always been something that I've been able to do. But like I said, it comes so natural that it really felt easy. Like it just felt too easy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I was good at biology as well. That was, a good subject for me. But then you get to the college level of it, and it's like I'm struggling for no reason. Like isn't the same. Obviously, it's not going to be the same. But I didn't think it would be that different. Like I'm like, this is a hard class for me. It's not fun. Made it through it, and it was like I can't do 4 years of this, 4+ years, because in that route, it would have been probably an extra semester anyway. But crazy. I didn't want to struggle. Like I didn't want to, and that would have been a personal inflicted struggle that I did not have to go through, and I could choose something else that I am better in,
right,
and just as unwilling, and I know it, and I could do the same thing. Because what I was going to do, like I said, I had the medical examiner thought at first, but even that changed where I was like, okay, maybe I could be a biology teacher. So education kind of came quickly as well. So from the biology education side to the English education side. So I'm like, I'm still in the same realm of things, just a different subject, something that I think I could do without having to study too much or, put too much into it. I could really enjoy it, like enjoy learning.
That's dope.
That's dope. Versus just doing something and struggling with it and having to, get study groups and stuff like that. Because I have friends with biology majors, and that's how they did. They study so much.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I mean, you chose what your strong suits were. You know what I mean? Like, you chose to choose like, well, I know I'm really good over here, and so I can more focus on this. Versus like you said, putting self-inflicting pain on yourself to go through and study, and
honestly, it would be just to appease the other people because, like I said, out of those two, biology is the more, the more structured subject, and it's going to require all this other stuff, and you can do, all those things. So I'm like, okay, people will love this,
Yeah.
And at that time, I thought I was good at it, so I'm like, oh, I'm going to be a biology.
That's prestige. You brought up an interesting.
So, and I learned that very early on. It didn't take me a long time. I was literally a biology major for 1 semester. That was it. Gotcha. I changed it immediately.
Gotta get up out of there. Listen, you brought up an interesting point as far as like you realized that you wasn't doing biology for you. You was doing it to appease others. Like obviously with the podcast being for kids, and it's right now with social media, peer pressure is heavy. It's not like the normal peer pressure. It's more like when you're scrolling on the screen, like your phone all the time, and you're seeing, kids, or you're seeing.
Yeah, it's not intentional peer pressure. Right. You don't have somebody actually forcing you.
Exactly, but it's almost stronger though. You know what I mean? It's almost stronger. So what advice would you give to someone, a young adult, a child, to really, I guess deep down, really search for themselves? Like how can they not appease others, but just focus on what they love, what they enjoy? Like, what would be your advice?
One thing, and it's going to sound so cliche, but honestly, the first things first is to unplug. Just don't consume it so much, because what you're going to consume is what you're going to expect from yourself. Yep. But something that I have done in my own personal life is I follow what I can align with. So I have, I go to my social media timeline, and I may see a lot of lock journeys. I may see a lot of herbal things. I may see a lot of author type things. So I'm not seeing the card. I mean, I see it because I follow the blogs as well.
Right.
I'm all into the tea and all that good stuff. So you see it like that, but it's to a minimal, and it's just not so much of it. So you try to, if you're going to be online, if you're going to be, involved in social media, just really follow what you align with at that time. If you're not in the position to buy, the fashion things that these influencers are buying at the time,
right?
Don't follow them.
Yeah.
Follow your friends from school. Follow, people that you actually know in real life.
Yeah.
honestly. And then the true part about it as well is just remember that you are on your own journey. It's not going to look like everyone else's. Once you get that part down pat, you wouldn't be fazed by anything that you see. Like then you can get to a point where you can consume the other stuff and really and like it. You know, I like that. That's something that I could do one day as well. It kind of turns into a motivation when you can use that as motivation versus making it, letting it make you feel bad.
Yeah.
I feel like you won. You can handle social media at that point, but until then, you probably should just limit how often you're on there. Tap into real life. Yeah. Like everybody says it, but it's a real thing and it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I love what you said. You know, you said follow things that you align with. In the beginning, you might not follow things that you align with. I think, going like just something that I was thinking about is just like I didn't necessarily know. When you tell people, stay on your own journey, right? Don't look at everybody else. Stay on your own journey. But you really don't. It's harder, easier said than done because when you don't necessarily know your purpose yet, or you having a hard time understand what your purpose is, or you having a hard time just finding yourself in general, you tend to gravitate to all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And so I love what you said as far as like take a step back from social media and really just live in the moment, live in the world. Because once you understand that there's life around you that you can enjoy and live in and not necessarily be on social media all the time, I think it eases your mind. You won't find yourself as anxious or having high anxiety or depression, things of that nature, because that's a real thing right now. So
it is.
So I think that's important. And then you talked about, obviously we went to Francis Marion. How did you choose Francis Marion? I think picking a college is probably one of the most important decisions you'll make, because it can make you or break your, that 4 year period, 4 to 6 year period, however long you're in school. But that's where I became more of an adult, when I went to college, right? Those are premier years, like where you learn the most, you kind of shape yourself, your identity as a human in those years.
Yep.
How did you choose, like, all right, I'm going to Francis Marion? Like, what was the decision process like?
It was, it wasn't hard, to be honest, because I didn't have many that I desired to go to anyway. I actually wanted to go to Lander. Lander was what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And honestly, my dad told me I could only do a few applications, but the application fees were so high.
Yep.
So I only did 3 applications. So I did 3, and then when we're trying to do the Lander route, they kind of told me that's a little too far. So I told my counselor that I was so distraught. I went to my guidance counselor that I'm like, I can't go to Lander because they said it's too far. And she went to Francis Marion and she was asked me if I had heard about it or knew anything about it. And I was like, actually, no. So I went to an information meeting and I was sold. I was literally sold. For one, the proximity of it was really close to Sumter. It's like a 45-minute drive.
Yep.
I felt welcomed. It was really nice. And then one of my friends from church, she's like literally a lifelong friend. We're still friends to this day. That's the school that she was going to go to. So I was like, okay, so we could go together. I have somebody, that I can kind of go with. And so my family was sold on it. The price.
Of course.
At that time, Francis Marion was like one of the cheapest schools in South Carolina. If I'm not mistaken, it was like USC Beaufort and then Francis Marion. I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, that's how it went. It was really super cheap at that time. So that's what, drew me to it. Honestly, hadn't heard much about it up until my guidance counselor told me about it. Mm-hmm. Went to visit it, and it wasn't too big of a town. It was literally like a Sumter Junior. Like it was just a little bit of not too much for me, something that I could, become comfortable in. And I sold, and I was happy with the decision. Learned a lot there.
And you flourished. I mean, that's
great educators.
That's amazing. I think you, depending on how you like to learn. Like I went to a smaller school. Even though I didn't plan on going, I went to the smaller school because I wanted to play football. So I ended up playing, college football. Did 4 years at a small D2 school. But, I had my eyes. If I wasn't going to play football, I was like, I'm either going to USC in Columbia. And then I think I had one more school, but I couldn't remember. But looking at USC, and just how big it was, like how
Mm-hmm.
you're literally just like a number, like you just a number in class. And I know for
Yeah.
me, I'm a very hands-on like learner. Like if I don't understand
Mm-hmm.
something, I need time. Excuse me, ma'am. Can we sit down, study, like? And I know you don't get that type of experience sometimes in those bigger, larger, settings. So,
Yeah.
just having that understanding of how you like to learn, how you like to be, coached in a sense is
Mm-hmm.
definitely important. What would you say your fondest memory of college would be? Like your top tier memory, whether it was a party, whatever the case may be. Like what was the top tier memory? Because you make so many memories in college, and I want college.
Exactly.
I
You
want
make too many.
yeah, I want college to be considered fun. Like I think now a lot of people know that they don't have to go to college to be successful, but I still think the experience of college is
The
super
experience is
important.
what tops.
Yeah,
The experience tops it all.
it's super
Like I
important.
tell people all the time, go for the experience if you can't. Like if you truly don't have a direct route that you plan to at the college and you're able to go. Like just go and give it a try. Enjoy it. If you enjoy it, do it all. But as far as my final, of course, I can't pinpoint one without implicating myself. But school, hands down, probably the best time I've ever had in my entire life. Every year that I was there, I feel like I made the best decision.
Okay.
Going to the school, I made the best decision. Moving to the area, because even after college, I stayed in Florence, and I know, again, everyone probably looks at it, it's so small, but growing up in the city like Atlanta, I enjoy the smallness of things. So that was perfect for me. It wasn't too big. Too much makes you anxious. Too much gets you lost.
Most definitely.
Things like that. But college as a whole was definitely an experience. I really can't put it into many words because it's you have to feel it. You just have to feel it and get that experience. It's been too many fun times, too many learning experiences, ups and downs. Like it really is a journey where you're finding yourself. Learn, and you still don't even learn. You still leave and still don't even know half.
Yeah, you know.
But it gives you a leg up into the real world. I think that it does. Like it prepares you, not just for the career side, but you get prepared. You really get prepared.
Most definitely. So listen,
good school.
You pleading the fifth. So we pleading the fifth on the story because she said she's gonna be implicated. Just know, you college is what you make it. So go ahead and create your own memories when you decide to go, whether you go or not, if it's for you or not, whatever the case may be. Just when you go, don't stick to the things you are accustomed to. Try to get outside the box.
Move around if you have to. Who cares if you people? I think people are scared too because it's going to extend their stay there. But who cares?
Exactly.
Stay as long as you have to. Like, there's nothing out here that you should be rushing to anyway. So
it's not. Being an adult is overrated. They make it seem so cool back in the day, but it's overrated. So we're not gonna worry about it. But you said you learned a lot. You went through so much in college. I have a key question that I do want to ask is like, what would you say has been the hardest lesson you had to learn in life so far? Like something you would you would tell anybody. Not, it doesn't have to be a kid, younger, anybody. Just like what is the hardest lesson you've had to learn personally?
Oh goodness. The hardest lesson. That's a good question as well. Oh goodness. I will say one of the biggest experiences that did happen to me while I was in college. I did have my first kid there while I was there, so that was that birthed into a whole. You actually change. That actually changes you. I mean, literally and figuratively. So to go through that while in college, the lesson through that whole thing would be just to oh goodness, set yourself up to continue, like to keep that first, like set yourself up to where when life happens, you're still able to move forward with the goals that you set for yourself. That is definitely one of the things that I learned that, don't let the life things that everybody actually, deals with. Everyone, kids all over the place. So, like things like that literally is everyday things. Don't allow something like that to just stop you, stop you dead on your tracks in the middle. And I will say one of the biggest lessons I have learned, even during that process and after, is accept the help that is given to you or is, trying to, that's there. And that's definitely one thing that I look back on and I'm like, this could have all been really easy had I just not been so stubborn. Gotcha. Had I just accepted what was there. I wanted to do everything on my own that I did not have to do. I can't stress this enough. I didn't have to do any of this at all. I could have, everything, so much could have just been avoided.
What made you, by just accepting. What made you feel like you had to do it on your own? Because the only reason I'm asking is because having a child, in college, having a child in general is a blessing. Obviously, you don't plan certain things. Things may not happen on your perfect timeline or when you thought it would. But when it's there and it's present, you have to, you have to deal with it one way or the other. And so there's probably someone listening that is probably getting ready to probably have a child or probably getting ready to go through a life-changing, situation like this. But what made you say, what made you feel like you had to do it on your own and not necessarily accept, I guess, help? In your words?
Because I just felt like this was my responsibility, and I was I kind of still am one of the people that was just really relied heavily on my family. So I'm coming from a position where I'm in college. My dad is, sending me money every week. If I need anything, I'm calling my dad, my grandparents. Right. When it's time for my oil changes, I know where to go. He's sending me there. When it's time for any of that stuff is taken care of pretty much. Didn't have to, do much. So I'm like, here I am. Literally, I'm in my 20s, but I'm like, I still am dependent. I am very dependent on my family.
Right.
And it's kind of just like, how dare you be, relying on them when somebody else is now relying on you. Gotcha. So I'm like, okay, let me step away because I feel like I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
By age I was, but I didn't feel like it. But I was trying to be. So I thought that was, the best thing. This is me and someone else's kid. This is who's going to do all of this stuff. And we want to do all that, Yeah. And I did not have to because I just didn't. But I learned a little, took about 2 or 3 years. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to start letting them know I need help with this, that. Can y'all do this, please?
Yeah.
And it was like, of course, no problem.
That's awesome.
Like I said, I was in Florence. My grandparents are in Sumter. Needed a babysitter. They were on the road, or I was taking them there. It was no questions asked. And I'm like, this whole time I'm thinking, I can't go to school because I'm not going to have a sitter. I need to work because I need to do this. And I'm like, if I would have just stayed put and accepted the people that were there for what they were there for, a lot could have just been avoided.
Yeah.
But I don't regret the journey. I've learned a lot about myself.
I think
a little bit on the way.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you sharing that vulnerability with us on the podcast because, like I said, I think it's super important. Like, even myself, like you talk about asking for help. I'm a huge advocate for Black men being more happy. You know what I mean? Like, you don't always have to be, gangster. You don't have to always have to put a facade that you got, being real. Like, being real is you protecting, not understanding that all that is pride and ego. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I know, as people, we're going to have principles and morals that we live and go by. But for Black men, especially, to always feel like they have to be hard or they can't really, laugh. Like, I hate when people, they always talk about if you start doing TikToks, like, get out of here. Like, I'm just like, come on, man. Like, you can't do nothing no more. Like, you can't have fun. You can't dance, do nothing. So it's just like, I'm a huge advocate of just people, obviously, expressing their feelings and not it being not as being looked as weak is more of a strong thing because you're able to be vulnerable to say, all right, I need help, or you're vulnerable like, I want to say this, but I just don't know how to say it or how to articulate it as well so that people can understand. And I think asking for help is something that we all struggle with. Like, we all feel like, we can do it, we can handle it, and especially if you are a person that feels like, well, this is my situation, I should feel like I can handle it. You know what I mean? Like, if you have that type of moral and principle, it's very hard for us to ask for help and be like, I really need help. But at the end of the day, I think at some point you will, life will kind of, get you, and you'll have to succumb to the help and be like, man, I just really need help.
And once you get there, it's an amazing feeling. For me, it's an amazing feeling because it makes you realize, like, I've always had what most people would have died for. Like, I've been sitting on a gold mine, not a gold mine, but I've been sitting on so much support, afraid to reach out to it. And I'm like, now I have no words. If I need anything or need anybody's favor or anything, pick up, anything like that, I have no problem making a phone call, texting somebody. I'm not scared to anymore because my family they've proven that, they have your back. They have my back. So
that's a beautiful thing.
That's the good thing that comes out of it, that you really realize, who your support is and who you can, rely on.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. So obviously we're going to move on, push the conversation forward. 11/22/22 is a good date for you. 11/22/22. I was like, how am I going to remember this? And I'm like, it's pretty easy. You know what I'm saying? 11/22/22. But we got the book, Tori, right? I want to know where the idea come from. Like, let's start there. Where did the idea of the book come from?
So, to be honest, like I said, I could write. My imagination is just there. It's there. I don't know what it is. I could, maybe because I'm childish a little bit, but I have an imagination. I could tap into an imagination at any moment. So I kind of had a story already. I had a storyline, but the aspect of incorporating like the lock journey and things like that kind of came in a little bit afterwards. Not all at once. It kind of was in different segments. And then I was going through my second lock journey at that time, because I've gone through two, and I'm considering the third one. I'm just going to do it maybe like sister lock or something. I don't know, because I've done it. I don't know. So I was going through my second lock journey at that particular time, and I'm like, let me Google, because that's my thing. I want to make sure it's not out there first. So I'm like, have I ever seen a book about locks, or have I seen it, ever? And I looked it up. I'm like, nothing came up. If there are other things out there, it didn't come up on the Google search.
Right.
So I kind of, just incorporated it, in that way. Honestly, Tori's sentiments were my own personal sentiments in a sense, even though as an adult, you go through that kind of back and forth, just in a different aspect. Like, she was going through it because she felt like she looked a little bit weird, and her classmates, they weren't really receiving it. But as an adult, you kind of look at it, you have your self-confidence. You're a little bit more confident than a kid, but you have to worry about it on a different level, like at work. How is this going, how my coworkers going to look? How is HR going to think? What is HR going to think about it? Then you have a kid, you're taking them to school, and, what are the teachers going to think? Yeah. Like, who was this lady coming in? Like, what is going on with her hair? So that's the pushback that I was kind of going through internally when I was going through that myself. Yeah. But luckily, I was able to brush past that particular, insecurity about it, and, just because I'm older, so I could do that. So I wanted to kind of just shed light on that from a child's perspective. And it is a trendy hairstyle. We are going back to our roots. Everyone's, for the most part, everyone's natural and chemical free, and locks have become trendy, and they're more, it's just being learned that they're more versatile than we kind of was led on to think, a little bit acceptable back in the day, a little bit. And they, they're stylish and they're convenient. Yeah. So a lot of parents are installing them in their kids, boys and girls, because at first you see the boys get to a certain age and they want them. Girls really didn't look at them like that. Nope. And now you see a whole lot more girls. I see a lot of my classmates, friends, that have their kids have them, and I'm like, it's becoming a lot. So let's put some representation for them out there as well. We obviously have the natural hair books. Cool. A lot of them, it's so many of them where they're all pretty good, but not really this, this perspective, this side of things.
Yeah, I think the book is crazy. And when you were talking, I'm like, dang, like I can see myself a little bit in in Tori. I can see myself a little bit in you because it's like this is my first time really. I've had every hairstyle possible, but dreads, this is probably like my first time like having dreads. And I work in, corporate America. So it's like I always deal with the point of like, and luckily I'm confident in myself enough that, how no matter how anybody else looks at me, I know who I am, I know what I can do, I know what I bring to the table. But when I do have meetings or, when we have to sit down with people that other people may think are important, like CEOs or things of that nature, and I have dreads, I always question like how they think, how are they gonna look at me? Are they gonna perceive to me as if like I don't know what I'm talking about, or this was a mess up hire, like whatever the case may be. But you just got to know that, have that confidence in yourself to understand like your hair doesn't define who you are. It's just a part of you, a part of your personality.
Yeah.
And so I really resonate with the story with Tori, and then also how you were explaining your sentiments towards the creation of the character. So now obviously we kind of get the idea behind the book, but then how did you come up with the collaboration with Donald? Like how did you know like, hey, this is I want to work with you to kind of bring this character into life? How did that happen?
So I kind of someone posted his work that I later found out was his sister. But so I went to high school with his sister. He went to the same high school, but I think he's older than I am, so I don't think we were there at the same time.
Okay.
We could have been. But I vividly remember his sister. So I followed them on social media. And one of them posted, some artwork of his. I think that he did a logo for one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked this, so I followed him because I knew the manuscript for Tori was finished. It had been edited. And at this point, it was just, let me look forward and he illustrated. And I wasn't on any particular timeline, so I was really taking my time. So I followed him and kind of just stalked his page for a few months and saw him posting. I'm like, oh goodness, he's really good.
Gotta stalk
and
the page.
Finally made that first connect, emailed him, and it was perfect from there. He sent the edits back. I let him know what I wanted. I sent him the shapes. I was very particular, so I had the skin tone that I wanted. I had the height, everything that I wanted. He was able to really just take what I wanted him to do, and the different examples, and created it. He did all of it.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Like the collaboration part. Like obviously you weren't on any time frame. I think the biggest thing that I've learned when doing projects or big things is like I try not to have a time frame on it, because I know. I want to be as detailed as possible. Like anything, anything that may come back that I was like, I didn't see it that way. Having time to be able to send it back and just being able to collaborate on, why you want these changes, why you want it to kind of look like this. And I think that's super dope. And so what was the, for people, for kids that want to be an author, for anybody, it doesn't even have to be a kid, like somebody that wants to just create a book. What's the first steps in creating a book though? Like, how do you even get started? Like, do you need to talk to a public? I don't even know the terminology for it.
Book writing and publishing has changed so much over the years. I promise you, it just has. Even myself never thought that. Like I said, that doesn't even seem possible, because it seems like, well, you've always just looked at it as something that people look for you for. It's not really something that you fall into. Mm-hmm. It's not one of those things. But Amazon, KDP, Barnes & Noble, they have single-handedly changed the self-publishing world. So now, and there are successful authors that I kind of follow, like on YouTube. Yeah. I watch a lot of YouTube. I learn a lot from YouTube. Okay. I am all day I'm watching YouTube or listening to it. But so a lot of them still do the traditional route, but they also self-publish. Like, I could talk about this all day. But as far as starting, just write. I know it sounds so cliche, it sounds repetitive, but just start writing. Write your ideas down. Like with Tori, you just had my phone. I kind of started with names and ages. Like, I wanted to build characters.
Okay.
First, like, that's my thing that I'm in my imagination. I can put the names and I could build somebody's life. Just thinking about, I could do it. It's crazy. So I started building the characters, their characteristics. That's part of my writing style. The beginning of it, I like to also write down how they're going, like their characteristics, like what they're going to be like. I put that all down,
right,
and then start flowing this over from phone to paper, because I'm still a handwriter. I just took notes in my phone, but I like to write, write. I know some people like to type and all that stuff, but I like to write still. So you go from your ideas, you jot them down, and you character building, and then storyline, sentence structure. My style is I just start typing. I'll just start writing, and it doesn't make sense at first, and I do a read through, and this is literally I just did this today at work. I do a read through and fill it in, change it, keep on going, add it on, and I go back to the top and I read through again, and it's just building my sentences that way.
That's crazy.
Versus just writing them out, because I will forget, so I just have to get it down, and then I'll just go back and put it together. Then just go back and put it together. But the after that, after you have your main script done, you could do your illustrations yourself.
Okay.
There's plenty of authors who do their own illustrations, and they're not like amazing like Donald. They're just regular, and it's cute. It comes out nice because it is a children's book. It makes it more realistic. It kind of looks like something that they drew themselves, so they like it. Mm-hmm. They enjoy it that way. So after manuscript is done, editing is very important. I think when it comes to children's book, we may kind of think that editing isn't important, but I had a lot of suggestions that came back when I had my edited, and it was vital to the success of Tori. So I'm glad that I did that. So editing is definitely important. Proofreading is definitely important. Even if you just get someone, a teacher at a local school, maybe you don't have to, put too much into it, to get it proofread. From there, you do find your illustrator. If you have a book with illustrations, you do find your illustrator from there. From there, like I said, sorry, that's not washing machine.
Oh, you fine.
After illustrations and things come back, after the book is done, you have your those washing machines are aggravating. Like, who gave them a ringtone? But after you have, like I said, you have your manuscript, you're looking for your illustrator, and from there, you really just find out where you want to publish, because there's so many platforms. You have Amazon, KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing. Okay. You have Barnes & Noble Press. You have Lulu Baby. You have 48 Hour Book. You have Ingram Spark. You have so many that you can publish through. Yeah. So you really just want to find out what works best for you. And for me, what worked best was Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and Ingram Spark, because Ingram Spark is where Target, Walmart, and places like that, they buy from them because they get a discount.
Okay.
Buy from them. So you research the different platforms, because it's going to be different for everybody. Everyone has, their pros and cons and their do's and don'ts, and what their haves and must-haves and things like that. So it's kind of going to go based off of, your research, really, when it comes to finding a publisher. But you do not have to have this big-time publisher to publish a book. You literally can publish a journal with nothing inside of it. I wish I had an example, like you could publish a coloring book tomorrow. You could literally take your personal diary, type it up, if it's a minimum of 24 pages, type it up and publish it. They will provide you with your ISBN. But if you know that you're going to be going forward with writing books, you want to go ahead and purchase all of a bulk of ISBNs through the ISBN company. But KDP itself will provide you one for free, and it could be uploaded within 3 days.
That is crazy.
So it's the traditional way is still good. People are still making really good money going that route. A lot of authors that I do listen to on YouTube, they're doing both. So they're able to have contracts with the publishing company to complete one assignment or complete a collaborative assignment where they're working with different authors to, make like a book of shorts or something like that. Mm-hmm. But they can do one assignment or a few books up under that publishing company, but they can still do their self-publishing thing. They're not tied to that publisher. They're not committed to do, so many books, and you're just,
it's not like
you don't have to have an agent, but it's helpful to have an agent. They still have agents out there to kind of book different gigs and things like that, but you can do it yourself. I was able to, book some school visits just off of recommendations, people referring me. I didn't have needed an agent to do anything like that.
Right.
The upfront costs was my illustrations, to be honest. That's all I really had to pay for upfront. because they take what they want to take out of your royalties. So you could do this truly with what you have, like just with what you have.
So basically, what you're saying is today, if I had a journal, I could just pop something up, and in 3 days I can have a book. It seems like you've done so much research. Like when you said, YouTube University, man, like YouTube University is huge. Like you can learn so much off YouTube. But when you were talking about building, the book, like how you start, like I think, to me, like I enjoy listening to that process from anybody because it just lets me know how dedicated you are to actually seeing your idea get off the ground. Like, starting from the characteristics of the character, like the dreads, the height, the skin tone. Then, okay, we got the characters. Now let's move into, character development, and then let's put the storyline together. Like, just mapping it out. Like, visually, I can see that all working inside, like, not necessarily your head, but I can see, like, when you explained it, I'm visualizing how much time and you put into this book and how much how much thought you put into this book, and I want to commend you on the book, and I just hope that you continue to keep going forward as far as like what you want to get done. But that leads me to my last question, and we're almost done. So believe it or not, we've been almost talking for an hour, so it hasn't even felt like that. But
I know
it's been a good conversation, but I do want to know, like, what is your ultimate goal, not only with the book Tori, right, but also just in your journey. Like, do you see yourself creating more books and you just wanting to get into more, this is what you want to do full time, right? What do you see yourself? What do you see Tori in 5 to 10 years? What do you see yourself 5 to 10 years? And let's, we'll end it like that.
So I've written, within the last 2 weeks, I've already written 2 other books. That's aside from Tori. Tori will be a series.
Okay.
So I have about 4 written following this one. Just different, like Junie B. Jones, but Black girl, honestly. Mm-hmm. Just daily stuff with her. I'm kind of in a phase where I want to expand it to where it could be like mini chapter books, like a... We don't have one over here, but like a mini, like the Captain Underpants, chapter books, because I can't really scrunch it up because I want to tell. I really want to go into detail. I really want everybody to really learn about her and her family. So I'm really in that middle phase right now where I'm thinking of just kind of expanding what I have with that, but really have been loving the children book world itself. So I also have branched off of the Tori series and kind of started something completely different. And I'm not even trying to own horn. I really say this very humbly.
Hey,
like they are
good. Toot.
They are good. I promise you, they are good. The kids are going to love it. I keep reading it. I was working on it today at work, and I'm like, I really keep reading it. Like, do I need? I kind of feel like I don't even need to have it edited, but I'm going to edit it. But it's really good. It's really good. I have this animal idea, but it's not your typical animal idea.
Okay.
Like have you ever heard of a rainbow lorikeet? It's a bird, a rainbow bird. It's in the parrot family. So I came across this bird, and I'm like, how can we incorporate this into a book in a fun way and teach something along with it? And I'm like, okay, color theory is kind of taught at an early age. For kindergarten, the first grade, they're learning their colors, and then not kindergarten, first grade, they're learning their colors 18 months to kindergarten. And then when it gets like first graders, they're kind of learning the color theory where they are teaching the primary colors of red, yellow, and blue. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of came up with this idea of teaching color theory using this lorikeet bird. His name is Frank Lorikeet.
That's dope.
And he's going to lose his colors, and they're going to learn how to get his colors back. So we're going to be mixing some colors, and green.
Don't give them too much. It's already fine. Don't give them too much. Don't give them too much heat. All right, they got to buy the book. But listen.
That's what I've been having fun with. We still have Tori, but I've been having so much fun doing these smaller age targeted books. And I had another one where we were going to be learning the evolution of tadpoles, going into frogs in a fun way.
That's dope.
With the boy, the character's name is Carter. Really trying to incorporate, names that we could relate to. So we have Carter. Not really sure his parents is going to be named, but trying to keep it, still close to home a little bit, but teaching them something. It's going to be, science based. Like I said, we're biology based because we are learning the evolution of frogs and things like that. But it's going to be from a little boy named Carter's point of view.
That's hard.
And so we have the frog and we want to have the lorikeet. And I've already thought of like a parallel from the tadpole to frog evolution with Carter. And I'm thinking of maybe a caterpillar to butterfly, story for a little girl to kind of go along with that one. But I really want to play on this animal fun thing.
Dang, that's crazy. You sound like the 50 Cent of children's books.
I feel like it a little bit. I'm getting there. I actually have a because we love YouTube University, but it's also important to invest in any mentoring that we can.
Yeah.
So there is an author. She's a Black author as well. She's based out of California. I do have a mentor call with her tomorrow because I do think I could be better.
Yeah.
I think that Tori was a little lengthy, a little bit. So it's some things that I know that I can admit to about the book. So we're gonna have a call tomorrow because I'm like I can be better. But I do feel good about where I'm at now, but I definitely could be better. So I have a call tomorrow with her. Hopefully we could talk about which I'm asking her everything I need to ask her. I paid some money for this, so let's talk.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's talk. Invest in yourself. Learn as much as you can. YouTube is free, so get what you can from there. But I feel like, all right, it's time to go up a little bit more because I do have these ideas, but I'm not going to push them out unless it can be how I want it. Like it has to be perfect.
Done the right way. Man, Shani, listen, I think the way you explain these ideas, you got to keep that energy, man. You got to keep that energy going and you got to let them juices flow. Like the creative juices just flow and let it take you where it take you. But it seems like, the kids got a good little while. They're going to be on that Shani Taylor book game for a while, and hopefully, I used to love going to book fairs in elementary and spend my little money, you know what I'm saying, on a Junie B. Jones book or a Bluefoot series book. And so now, hopefully we can see, Shani Taylor and Tori, and then, the tadpoles, the butterfly, how you gonna incorporate everything and just hopefully, my kids could be able to go to a book fair and look at that and be like, oh man, I know this author, and it's just gonna be a full circle moment. But I want to say, I want to say, keep up the good work, and I hope everything that you envision, every idea that comes to your mind that you put on paper comes true. I want you to understand that this is Big Boss Talk is it's not transactional for me. I really want to give everyday people that's doing extraordinary things a platform to be able to express what they got going on and their loves, their hobbies, whatever the case may be. Just give them a platform. So anytime you got something going on, I'm looking to share, post, whatever you got going on with the book. I want to be helpful, and I also, I'm gonna get me a book as well. So can you let people know where they can get the Tori book, but then also where we can look in the future, on to get the other books as well?
So Tori can be purchased on Amazon. Paperbacks are on Amazon, and hardcovers are on Barnes & Noble website right now. Hopefully we can be into some local bookstores soon, like real soon. But that's where they can be purchased now. I do have a website as well, www.arthurshanytaylor.com. And that's where I keep it updated. It isn't an outdated website. I keep my calendar updated. So that's where you'll be able to find upcoming books and, upcoming events or where I'll be at, vendor events and things like that. I'll be doing my first vendor event actually next Friday. So we'll have a lot of books out there for that one.
That's dope.
But going forward, follow me on social media at ArthurShanyTaylor.com. Arthur Shani Taylor on Instagram. And everything is up there. I'm very active on there. Try to post daily if not at least a few times a week. So definitely social is where you'll find out everything first.
We love it. We love it. We love it. What did you have fun?
I did. I love talking. I really do love talking. So
that's good.
Like I said, it feels like a conversation. As long as it can feel like that, to me, it's easy to me.
That's good.
The questions came effortlessly, so the answers came naturally. So
that's good. I love it. I love it. So the way the podcast works is we need a recommendation, right? 1 to 2 people that you think fit the mold of the podcast that we can kind of keep moving this thing forward and touching different careers. So do you have anybody that comes to mind that you would recommend for the podcast? If you don't have anybody that comes to mind right now, that's okay. But I need you got to get back with me and send me their Instagram. Send me their Instagram and just let me know and just let them know like, hey, he's going to be reaching out to you. He has a podcast. He's done over 100 something episodes, and good, just let them know good people, good people.
Okay.
And that'll work.
Do that.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm gonna let you go. I know it's late. You have a great day. I can't wait.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to all the books, everything that's going on. So we appreciate you. And if you ever need Big Boss Talk or a platform to just kind of speak on your books, whatever you got upcoming, please let us know. We would love to have you back and get the word out about whatever you got going on, okay?
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Awesome. You too.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.